I didn't get changed.
Ours
I
are-
walking along, I put my arm. Ladies
And down.
on the tractor run, allocating along and put her head down and looked at me right up here in the road. Me and Bruce.
I think that's what I'll do, like, I got checked by insurance, they said, sure.
I don't,
We want,
but Barrysburg's a fire district.
freight.
We don't have a contract.
Kind of.
Okay.
Contract.
Oh, you do?
Contract with 30 months.
Yeah, we have, ours have a contract with Weathersfield.
And I did not, you know, the fire department, comptroller, or other than two. And you. A by A, yeah, because there's also $500. I got it.
Right.
And that was, that whole lot of stuff.
Alright, well, develop committee meeting order. First on the agenda is changed the December date to the 21st. And also, I am going to be leaving attendance for doctor's appointment on the hospital call. Ellen will take over if we're not done yet.
We could.
Kevin, you are off.
Have all of our contracts for the 2023 providers. I did include a PowerPoint this year, so you guys see all of the contracts, so you can
Couldn't get
see the detail of what is covered in each of those contracts. First one is our contract with the hospital. We have a health unit, they provide services within the community, then within our jail, transit services. That is for $257,328. Want me to just go through all of them?
Yeah.
Second one is for living opportunities at the fall. There are housing provided for the county. Contract is for $360,858. And if you want me to go into any detail, I can go on. Third one is for Peer Together in Wyoming County, by our peer programming. That is for $325,494. Fourth contract is for Hillside Children's Center. They're providing some of our children's programming. That is for $136,523. And the contract is for coordinated care services, which we get by out of Rochester. This is our contracted staffing in the mental health department. $404,006. Next contract is with Art Glow. They provide assisted competitive employment services for individuals with mental illness, work within the community. That contract is for $59,642. Next contract is with Suburban Adult Services, TAPSI. They do some pre-vocational employment services for our developmentally disabled population. That is for $41,464. Next one is for Spectrum Community Services. They're providing mental health substance abuse services for the county. That is for $603,401. And the ninth one is for Camp Getaway. Camp services, kind of all across New York State, actually pass through for that money. That is $142,844. Any questions on it?
Go on. One through nine.
I will, yeah, the majority of that is state aid. State aid, the money doesn't, even though it does go to the county, but to each of those provided agency providers, they do have to spend it according to our, how we have it outlined in the contract, and it's not like they automatically get it, spend it. We have to do a CFR consolidated fiscal report, and then it tells you here's when the state is their reconciliation. There are objective things that they have to do in order to receive that money.
Is there any new programming included?
I think really the only new thing this year that we did was the Spectrum contract. There was money that we, didn't like what it was going for was, that we're shifting into some transportation that they can provide additional transportation for people. And then I think within the Peers Together contract, we just shifted money around because their social club and more funding than the transportation program, and we just, transportation is a need, so trying to find a way to go that.
I know you said the state has to justify that money, but is it a flat rate? Are these flat rates or are they prorated on how much we use it for clients, or how does that work?
For OMH, it is a flat, like they say, this is the state aid that you're getting for these programs. And we have some flexibility depending on what they say it's for to use. And so they have the ability to use it. If they don't use it, they can recoup it at the end of the year, but it takes years to get there. With our OASIS money, they do it a little bit differently, that it's like they look at what you spent in previous years, and that's what they base on when they have to do your budget. Look at the money that you need to run that program. So.
Another question? I didn't entertain a motion for 1 through 9.
I'll move it. I think out there to move.
All right, I have a motion by Supervisor Gray. Any further discussions? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else, Laura?
Just wanted to give 2 updates on our OTP, that's the opioid treatment program. Community at Erie County contacted us to say that they were withdrawing the application because their program person who was, leading this program announced his retirement. So they needed to focus on capacity of their program in Erie County, and they did not want to take a program here. So for now, I think that we're still looking at different options, see if it's still a possibility. There is a grant out there with the federal government that is possible. So the next update, that's where it's at for now. And then the other thing was our memory tree, really fast set up a tree down in the lobby down there. We not do that this year. We're not planning to do that this year. That we're going back to it's two different things that we're going to decorate. We have a Christmas tree that was planted outside the mental health department, so we're going to decorate that and have that be the memory tree. And then we're doing an activity with all the libraries in the county. That ordinance will be available there for people to fill out, bring home with them, and hang out on the tree, and doing some information about services and read them lost during the holiday season. So just changing it up.
Maybe any questions?
Thank you very much.
Laura, you are off.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. So item number 1 is back again. This is the Healthy Families Program, which we've been talking about for months. And just to relay the landscape, the state awarded us the program from Wyoming County and then circled back and said, how do you feel about going into Genesee County? So with the 10 different amendments to the work plan and budget documents through the state puts in the program. I think we're at the contracting spot. And this amendment will allow for the addition of Genesee County and an increase in the total amount to $75,000. Number two actually sort of goes with it, if you'll allow me. Some of the work for this program can be accomplished in partnership with community action. And we had previously, the committee had previously approved a subcontract with community action in the amount of 90,000. Based on the increased catchment area and the increase in the grant award, it's also necessary to amend the subcontract with community action to increase the amount of the subcontract. This is going to be a level set across the 5 years of the grant. So those two really come together.
Vice Supervisor Becker. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, item 3.
This is also an amendment. This is some of the COVID response funds. And they have extended the end date through December 31st of next year. And I think this is the second amendment on this program. It was supposed to conclude and then they put it out 6 months and then now they're pushing out another 6 months to the end of next year. There is some additional funding associated with this. It's no cost extension, which is actually.
Sure.
Somebody say yes, Supervisor Becker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So based on the events of the last couple of years, the health department has quite a few positions on Schedule G in the truest sense. These are positions that are assigned to grant deliverables paid for by grant funds. Given that it's a rising cost environment, I think the application of the 2.5% COLA would be a good thing. These employees are well placed, meeting deliverables, and the adjustments are all reimbursed by grant.
Any questions on that? I have a motion by Supervisor Roberts. A question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Appropriations.
We would like to put the lights. So this is largely in response to a couple of things that have happened over the course of last year. So veterans relocating previously paid for a portion of the percentage of our utilities based on the percentage of the building. And similarly, I think we had some of those funds paid by any revenues that were done on that. Just so at any rate, we would still like to keep the lights on, and this is rising to the costs that we're seeing on.
I move that, Jerry. I can understand her pain, you know, we have 12 electric meters in the town of Perry and just, you know, what you budgeted last year to cover it, you know.
Right. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The next one, I think that's a typo. Training days are in the 14th. Believe.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm making the greatest, my apologies. So, this
Is
is.
that correct, Rob? Yes.
In the year.
Okay, so on the 14th will be the annual water operators training, and this is something that we try very hard to do on an annual basis. The water operators in the specific systems require a certain number of continuing education credits in order to maintain their certification, and this is paid for by the Drinking Water Enhancing Grant, and through the years, the council's gotten pretty sharp with regard to the expense of this training. It's all day, and the agenda is set, I think, and it's expected to be 5, and we try very hard to make sure it's timely and items of reasonable and current interest for the water operators on the 14th.
Can you send somebody there that has gone before? You gotta get started.
No, you can send them that hasn't gone.
Yeah, now, are they certified in water record, is that what you're considering, or getting?
Why don't we get
that process?
it, get him that way. We have one guy, Eric Kelly, that does have his came from the village. But I don't know how long he's gonna be there, what he does. We have a new guy we hired there that does our cemetery and stuff. Maybe I'd like to get him
Yeah.
trained. and
That
taught.
we, for that process, but.
Okay, I gotta ask him, see if he's willing to go.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, check with his birth, yeah, certainly reach out for,
okay,
yeah, we got space in there also.
all
I
right.
think we've got 36, 50 slots.
I'll check with him and then reach out.
And that's no cost for Wyoming County operators, if there is capacity, once we feel like all the interest has been remarked, we'll open it up to neighboring counties. Right.
I'm not certified yet, but I certainly know enough about it.
Does that include climbing the water tower and looking at it?
I've been half time today. Somebody said, why half the time? Okay, so I got halfway up the tower and I realized I forgot my flashlight.
All right, we move on to item 7.
So item 7 is a list of the usual suspects the health department does business with. I don't know if y'all can see these or want me to go through them as entire to you. The only item that is slightly different from. So a lot of these are fee schedule driven by the vendors, these are labs and engineering firms primarily. There have been some adjustments, again, the total use of those agreements, the maximum expense depends on program volume and benefit. So, you know, looking backwards and looking at the current landscape, we generally know about what these expenses are going to fall into. But learned a while ago that it doesn't make any sense to stick a pin in it and request a maximum number of dollars to be expended because you never know. So this is laboratories, engineering, the county of Monroe for postmortem medical examiner services, Sarah Schaefer, who is our TB medical practitioner and also provides clinical services in the jail setting, completely reimbursed by the jail. And I've been in touch with Dave later on that. That one is a little higher than in previous years because her circumstances changed and her expenses in order to fulfill the program requirements have gone. And let me see, JW.
Anyone have any questions on those? Other discussion on these, I have a motion by Supervisor Grant. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Departmental agreement.
So there are 2 expense agreements with animal control for rabies related services and computer services for a 0.5 FTE for technical support. And then there are 2 revenue agreements. One is the Sheriff's Department for the jail medical services. And so we take a close look at the, and I'll digress for just a second. I take a close look at this one every year to make sure that the program structure and the expenses are, you know, meeting the needs of the inmates of the jail, corrections officers, health department, and it all makes sense. So we reached out and we touched on this maybe it was last month. Allegheny County is also looking for jail and animal services. They went out to bid on it and had a bid response in excess of $1 million for like a year. So, okay. So I just wanted to put that out there because this number has been inching up based on increasing expenses. The nurse title changes that this committee approved that were approved by the board. One of those titles feeds this contract, so that's an increased expense there. Sarah Schaefer also increased theirs. So I believe we're talking with Dave that the program is meeting the needs of the jail inmates. And as jail administrator working with these very pleased.
Oh, very good.
Master annual agreement is with social services. This is for personal care cases, the assessment piece of it where we have a nurse who's going into the home of a social services employee to assess the needs of the client. And there's been a change in that program. New York State has assigned some of the assessment duties to Maximus as part of the year state take over of Medicaid administrative services. So we're seeing a shift in that. We are going to continue to request permission to execute the agreement. And I think it's on for social services as well to create a safety net. We are trained and ready, and in the event their employee internal to social services has a status change, we can still help them out, make sure those separate. So that's about it again, it's been $7,000 for previous years. I don't think it's going to be anything near that, I'm trying to think, but Kim was interested in continuing the relationship.
Stern. I have a motion by Supervisor Rogers. There's no further discussion, all in favor? Oh, Harry, building renovation. Let's see.
I think some things are happening behind those doors, so the demolition portion seems to be underway because of people comes to our I've not been back in there, like down in the former veterans portion of the building. Buildings and grounds appears to have really showed up. We were under some very tight time frame to expend those dollars and pay the bills prior to the end of this year. It was a use or abuse it. Based on the appliances, cabinets, countertops, building materials, et cetera, it looks like we're close to there. The funds that were designated for security enhancements, we are still working through that with IT. This conversation has been going on for several months. He is well aware that the funds that we have available must be expended, invoiced, and paid by 12/31. I have some concerns, but he assures me that we'll get that. And we've all got our new rhythm kind of established. We've moved some of the clinical staff and them back into the center of the building. Thank you again for the support and consultations. It's going to be great. Me too.
Okay, good. Oh.
Thank you. In the past, this has been an annual appointment, and Cheryl and I kind of talked through the why of that, and we're gonna come up with it. So this appointment is, concurrent with employment, and then just. The base more to just appoint him and not have to do it. You need to serve it well, and it's just easier. And it's a position on Schedule D and yada.
Motion.
Sure. I'm sorry.
That is my correct. I have a motion by Supervisor Greg to appoint Alan as the medical director. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. What do you think?
Yes.
Operational updates.
So. Before we move into that, and Cheryl, in advance, I apologize. The health department has an agreement for an electronic medical record. We adopted it back in 2013 and 14. eClinical Works, and it was originally adopted to serve the client base in family planning. So that agreement was approved by this board, 3 years subsequent, and then 1 year renewals after that, because the grant of family planning was very uncertain at that point. Now, as of 12/31, family planning clinic is discontinued funding. Closed. We are now engaged in final wrap-up activities. This is the write-off from 2020 and 2021. And the final cost report. So given that very shortly that line of business will be closed and Jess has constructed a state aid application moving righteous expenses over into the Article 6 state aid funding mechanism, adjusting our county budget. We've got a contract that says men's and women's reproductive health services. So normally in the contracting world, you call up your favorite person at the vendor and say, so here's the things that have happened, let's get a fresh, a renegotiated fresh into contract. We don't want to turn, we need men's and women's off of there, the health department on there. These two services are, monthly add-ons are no longer necessary. Except in ECW world, you have to put in a ticket. And so you put in your ticket, and then unbelievably, they call back when I'm in the kitchen getting a cup of coffee, and then we start all over again. So what we've got at this juncture, because of the new UNIS standards, we can't let this lapse, okay? Because there are provisions in that agreement that say if the contract lapses, then the customer will be responsible for an exorbitant installation fee. So what I'd like to request is an extension of this agreement, and yes, it's been approved, amended, and we're gonna ask for an extension, but this is so we can make sure that the provisions of that contract match the needs of the health department. It's not going great, but we cannot be without this service. So it is budgeted for 2023 through state aid, but we need to clean that up, because if Article 6 ever looked closely at it, the bill comes to the name of family and planning clinic, and that's no longer a service. A deal breaker, probably not. I'm comfortable. Yeah. So we have an extension class. I did talk with this through with Lisa.
Okay, so you got the black. Yeah, that's obvious. I've got some notes here, but I want to make sure that it's exactly what you need.
Amended resolution 22018 is amended by 20-517, 20-024, originally approved by 18055. Extend for the terms of the agreement while updates are negotiated. All of the
I like it. It needs a move then.
sorry.
I'm moving. I have a motion by Supervisor Roberts. Everyone, Dan. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Operational update. Or do you have anything?
We have one more. So under the Teresa Gilliland has long been a member of she took the unexpired seat and Mary Gilliland passed away. So Teresa did announce her intent to separate from the Board of Health. She's living at big, doing some travel during her retirement, and I think just for the opportunity we thanked her for being at the table for so long. We have a vacancy. Teresa was on the Board of Health composition by bylaws. It's required to have a certain number of positions and lead people who are invested in the community. Teresa had long worked for Livingston County's health department, so she knew the business and the mission of the health department. She was great. So we have a vacancy. I don't know if anyone here has anyone they'd like to suggest, and we can certainly reach out. If not, I was contemplating asking Sarah Schaefer, who is already connected to the health department. She is a clinician. She's long been attached to our department. She worked in the family planning years ago before she got her. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. We have a meeting coming up. I want to say it's the 15th, but I'm not sure now, but December 15th. Not to be confused with the water operators training. So let me know. October environmental health and waste measures reports.
Questions on those? We did wrap up the rabies vaccination activities for the year. That in March. And an increase in the animals vaccinated on this last year. Good to see. Stuff the water operator training works that we're holding. We have an enforcement action for food service establishment, and part of that, we should apply, but we also required education. So our staff goes out and does an in-service training facility. We're not here to just beat up the facility, we're trying to ensure that the violations don't occur in the future. So we had 2 of our staff go out and do a joint training for the staff of the facility. That was well received, and we'll continue to do that.
Anybody got any questions for? Dr. Thomas? Is there anything else coming before the go today? If not, we're adjourned. Being up to the next.